It is the ultimate blessing in today's Republican Party, an endorsement from former President Donald Trump. In the case of Alaska Governor Mike Dunleavy, there are strings very much attached. Trump says Dunleavy has his, quote, complete and total endorsement. But the next sentence redefines the meaning of complete and total. Trump says this endorsement is subject to his non-endorsement of Senator Lisa Murkowski, and goes on to explain, in other words, if Mike endorses her, which is his prerogative, my endorsement of him is null and void, and of no further force or effect. We're back with our panel. That is, I love how he takes the time to explain the actual, it's like a Publishers Clearinghouse thing. Tia, look, you cover many races very closely, and we all understand the effect of the former president's endorsement inside the Republican Party right now. But the idea of hanging this over a state official to try and pull an endorsement from another very high-profile state official, what does this tell you about both the former president and the Republican Party?
Yeah, and what's surprising about it is it's wholly unnecessary. You have an incumbent governor who is running for re-election, and you have a competitive primary in a Senate seat. He has no incentive to get involved already. And so it's more an indication of how President Trump wants to continue to be perceived as the leader of the Republican Party, and he wants to keep his finger on the pulse of all these competitive races so that he can establish himself as a kingmaker.
Yeah, and Margaret, you bring up who is Mike Dunleavy, the Alaska governor. He was elected in 2018. He's a conservative Republican who fought federal vaccine requirements. He was endorsed by former President Trump in 2018. He doesn't really have much of a primary challenge, if he has one at all at this point in time. So it's not like this is a competitive race. What's the rationale here from the former president?
To stay in the news and to stay relevant and to try to keep endorsements of Murkowski at a minimum. I mean, Murkowski is the only GOP senator who voted to convict in impeachment who's up this year, and Trump is furious with her and has been for a long time, and wants anyone but her and has endorsed someone else in that primary. Don't forget though, Murkowski is the one who, when she lost her own GOP primary to a Tea Party candidate back almost a decade ago or so, went back as a write-in candidate and won anyway and was able to retain her seat. She's tough. Could Trump pose a different threat? I don't know. Maybe times are different now than they were a decade ago. To me, it's like, did he even have to say it? Because doesn't everyone already believe that just because he endorsed someone, he wouldn't retract it if they did something to make him angry? So, it's just more coverage, and that's what he wants. And hey, guess what? We're giving it to him. Happy New Year,
But I appreciate he was very explicit about what a non-endorsement or a pulling of endorsement would actually mean. Yeah. Look, Margaret, you make a really great point, and that is, as one Republican official told me several months ago, if you want to beat Lisa Murkowski in Alaska, you better pack a lunch, right? She has done this before through the write-in process. Their primary process is not just Republican primary and done. It's a top four that moves on in a state where she and her family name are both very popular and are known for delivering. Jeremy, this idea of the former president going after anybody who voted to impeach, he's had some success in terms of people not seeking re-election. Broadly, how effective has he been on that kind of target list he's laid out?
Yeah, I mean, this is the politics of vindictiveness, politics by vendetta, and it's been, frankly, one of the most salient characteristics of the former president's first year out of office, meaning we have seen him get involved in extremely local races around the country, and usually it's been because of some kind of personal grudge that the president has, whether it relates to his impeachment, whether it relates to the 2020 election and his false claims of voter fraud, including going after state officials who he believes did not do what he would have liked them to do in trying to overturn the legitimate results of the 2020 election. So in that aspect, I think this is a continuation of Donald Trump continuing to practice politics based on his personal feelings about individuals and the things that he cares about, not necessarily thinking about the Republican Party more broadly or, frankly, a Republican getting elected in any kind of competitive race.
Yeah, I don't think he ever cares about that. I think it's entirely personal with him. All right, guys, thanks so much, as always.